actually, as I wait for my co-conspirator to come down, we are not so much talking as asking questions. Now that you can put an attribute trivially on every JATS element you have, people want to put RDFA. And the world of RDFA is really large. And we're wondering, the two of us, what ontologies would be the most useful. Now, there was a paper given at this very conference, and I know because I was one of its authors, by David Schotten and Sylvia Peroni and me, where we did a mapping from JATS elements to RDFA. However, David Schotten is a genius, but like many geniuses, he loves his own stuff. And what he pointed to was ontologies he'd written. Many people have complained that they would like to point to other ontologies. So our question is, Paul, you mentioned your ontologies the other day. You mentioned you had to write some. You mentioned you're also using some public ones. Is it public which public ones you're using?
Yes, I'm very happy to say that the nature ontologies are available publicly at nature.com/ontologies. I encourage everyone to take a look, download, do what you like with them.
Great. Would anybody else be willing to share with us what ontologies they're mapping to JATS? Is anybody else doing that?
Cue the crickets.
Evan.
You should look at the Crossref initiative on taxonomies.
The taxonomy working group.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And Chuck can speak to that.
You woke him up.
I'll have to reserve comment on that until it's not my neck of the woods in Crossref, so I'm going to have to pass at the moment.
And I was on one of those calls, and Debbie suggested we ask in this forum because I was going around asking everyone individually, and this seemed to be much more efficient to say, hey, I have a pile of JATS. I need to generate RDF from that JATS, and right now all I have is one example of someone who's done that. So and
it's
no information
strange
about whether, and from the source it says that may not be the way you'd want to do it.
I'm sorry, you're talking about RDFA for the bibliographic
no,
metadata?
I'm talking about RDF.
Or for the science, or for example, the substance of the text.
And the metadata.
To describe an article.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, here's a DOI, here's a resource, and say DC title, and then the title, that's not necessarily enough information to tell you what that resource is. So how far do you go to say, and do you use Bebo, or do you use the SPAR ontologies, and how Ferber do you want to go with describing these things?
What a lovely line. How Ferber do you want to go, Paul?
Hi, so I've got the page up here. So we use Bebo, DC, DC terms, event, Fabio, FOF, OWL, RDF, RDFS, SCOS, VAN, and XSD in addition to our own.
So your solution was to use everything.
I like it.
Which sounds good, which is complete at least.
So if anybody has any other ideas, the JATS list is a good place to talk about this. And thank you. We will all be out to your site. Thank you, Macmillan Scientific.